Hey guys, Liger Zero JPS here, and here we are looking at the ORX 013 Gundam Mark V. This is from Gundam Sentinel, and if it wasn't for the manual telling me this, because I used to think Gundam Sentinel took place after Double Zeta. No, this takes place towards the end of Zeta and the early portion of Double Zeta. So exactly when didn't say. You have to look at the manga itself or something and see exactly where. And to those who don't know, just like how uh Axis was the remnants of Xeon, um the group that's going on this part, the Neo Descendants, or the New Descendants, not Neo, the New Descendants, I guess what they're called. Um, they are the remnants of the Titans, or a group of the Titans. So you know how that goes. And believe it or not, the pilot of the Gundam Mark V was actually a better pilot and almost beat the XS Gundam multiple times. And believe it or not, his name, according to Gundam Wiki and everything, even the manual itself, his name is Brave Cod. Funny enough, if I do remember correctly, Brave Cod needed false teeth because this thing had such high, what's the word? Not high acceleration, high mobility that, high thrust of mobility that he lost his teeth. So he had to have false teeth. But yeah, I do remember that being a thing. And also, this Master Grade came out 2021, so it's 5 years old. And it still has polycaps, which honestly, I'm not too upset about. Because the polycaps are in the usual areas, like, the wrist, the elbows, shoulders, torso, hips, knees, ankles, stuff like that. I'm okay with that because it actually does help with keeping the joints stiff for him. And height-wise, he is basically as tall as the Excess Gundam. Now, his sticker sheet, oh boy, his sticker sheet. He is very egregious for it. 4 for his head, um, about 4 for his beam rifle. Yeah, 4 for the beam rifle, and 2 for his shield slash booster. That shield booster. Now, overall, the build of this thing, it's not bad. It was actually quite easy and fun. And he is very color accurate. Being that, he is blue and white. No stickers anywhere up here, so anywhere like on the plastics, like if you see like a little different color, like somewhere like on his feet, like right there, like on his toes, or those white parts there, that's all plastic. That red part, the red and yellow you see here are like the only two different color parts you see. Actually, there's only one yellow part, which is here on the neck, and there's three pieces of red. Actually, there's more pieces of red, but we'll see those later. But the three big pieces is the cockpit and the cockpit, cockpit hatch, and the cockpit itself, because it's like two pieces sandwiched together inside for the pilot, and then you got the hatch itself. But overall, he's fairly color accurate. The only part I hate about building him was his head, and that was a pain in the tail to build, but once it was done, it's done. Now, in terms of the stickers, ooh, those stickers. Gonna try and see if we can get this in focus. Also, his head design is very unique. Yeah, I like it and I hate it altogether because The first time I seen the Gundam Mark V or actually played with it was in Gundam Battle Operation 2, because I have the normal one. Just like two versions. You got the normal, and then you got the missile pod version. There's actually, I think, a third version which uses a similar body, but it's like a slightly different head. I think I have that one too, but Gundam Mark V, that's the normal one. It was like my go-to. And Gundam Battle Operation 2 does keep to being accurate enough with things just by saying like, hey, here's the history of this. Here's and pilot blah blah blah. So, they do keep accurate with that. So in terms of stickers on the Gundam itself, you got the eyes, this front camera here on top of the eyes, and the big one from this front camera that's kind of pushed back. Yeah, that camera is pushed back. And then there's a camera there on the back. So those are the only stickers on him himself. So in terms of articulation, the head, it goes up and down, and it can't move, so it can do the forward and back. So he do get a clear range to move his head. Also, these V-fan parts are fragile, but luckily they thought ahead and it gave you an extra set. These V-fans are different from normal V-fans, so just be mindful and careful with those. The arms can rotate 360. The shoulders are connected on the joint itself and not, by that little C-clip, so they're not, normally how some are pegged in. The arms can rotate 360 below the shoulder. He is double jointed. And in an action edition, there is a little side to side movement in the lower arm. Can't see. He has ball jointed wrist. And he has the style of hands where, these are the simple, this is actually a two-piece where it's just a cover and the hand itself. This is just a closed fist. But you do get other hands and different options. So for instance, we have the displayed open hands. We also get a pair of open hands with a peg for holding the beam sabers. And you get a pair of trigger hands so for his beam rifle. Now, actually, I'm going to take off his backpack because it's going to get in the way for this next part. Well, not really, but I'll get to that later. He does look kind of small and lanky without. Also, now that I notice it, you may not be able to see this, but I'm going to shine a light here on it to see if you can see. If you kind of look inside there, you can kind of see red. That's the cockpit right there showing from the backside. So there's the other red that I was talking about. His torso, or the body stuff. Oh man, built in this, I was a surprise because I was like, how is he gonna have some articulation and range? So as you can see here from the side view, let me put the light back on. There is like a little gap there. Well, he has a nice bend there, so that thing can cover down a good bit of weight on his cockpit, but it also leaves his back exposed. But what I like about this is that the build gives you a what it did was basically saying, here, you're gonna build part of this upper half. You're gonna actually no, you build this lower half, you build everything around it. Then you start building this upper half, and then you say, okay, we're gonna put this part into here, so you can have your swivel. And then you close it up, build your armor up around it. And yes, because this has a full internal frame, minus the head, I believe, you can build it without any armor. But even on the feet as well. I think you can find a video of it like on YouTube. But yeah, the front skirt, the side skirts, the legs, the arms, torso, all, I think even part of the head too. You can build an inner frame and just have that. But yeah, that articulation there is good. So he has a nice ab crunch. And honestly, his ab crunch is the best I've seen of all master grades with a lot of Gundams. So yeah, he has the best ab crunch. And he's on a peg, so he swivels around. Actually, it doesn't feel like a peg. It feels kind of like, okay, it is a peg. Also, that hole inside, kind of the polycap inside. And yes, there is a polycap. It is kind of just recessed in there. You can't really see it. Well, maybe you can a little bit. But yeah, there's a polycap and it's kind of recessed inside. Because he has this little wiggle there, but I don't think the wiggle is from the torso section. Yeah, because he's got this little wiggle in there. And it's not from the and it's not coming from the peg itself, so it's coming from the torso. So yeah, he has a little wiggle in there, but it's not a bad thing, honestly, because his body holds up well. Front skirt moves. Actually, it can move out quite a bit because yeah, you can have the front skirts come downwards like so, but you know, it's kind of set upwards. Actually, and no, that did that thing for me. His peg here that connects there, this moves the weight, that moves the body around. These side skirts, they're on a ball joint and a slight hinge, so they can, well, they're not ball joint, yeah, it's on a ball joint and a slight hinge, so they don't come out too far, but they come out enough. So this is kind of similar to like how double zeta side skirts are attached, and no back skirt. And this slot here on the back, right there, that is for that slot is for his action-based connector, which he has, like, you know, the simple standard fare action-based connector. And honestly, with some of these, I just leave them on. Sometimes I don't. I just leave them off. And you just slide it in like so. I mean, this I kind of like because it slides in. Yeah, I mean, it slides in from the backside. It's hidden and you don't really notice it. So yeah, even if he's in the air on from it, you really won't be able to notice it because it's kind of hidden away. Not many master grades do this. I know this is one. Double Zeta is another because it slides in on the back as well. Legs can go way forward and way back. There's nothing stopping them from going all over the place. Knees are double jointed, but you did that much because, you know, this is as much as you get. it wasn't getting as much because I had this in the way. And now there is a nice gimmick with this, is that there is a, while there's the normal connection, there is a sliding track that is in here for the, I want to say it was for the thruster or something that helped. It's for the thruster, so it kind of helps it, move. When you move the leg and you bend it, the thruster moves with it. So like when it's fully bent downwards, the thruster moves downwards towards the, down here towards the back of his leg. As you can see, it's kind of like, resting there on this little part of his exposed leg. And then when you bend it back up, it moves away from it. So I kind of like that they thought about that. Hey, let's just give his leg a gimmick for that, for those parts. These side flaps, they move out the way if need be. His foot, how do I say it? It's a peg. It's a double peg. So you have a peg going up into the leg, and you got a peg going angled downwards into the foot. So he has that swivel. So at the top, he gets the swivel when he gets the forward and back. So he can go he goes way far back. And then, he can go side to side. Then the foot, you can go like this and like that. If you built the Master Grade New Gundam or High New, this is very similar to that. And as you can see, these back parts, these are ball jointed, so they can go all the way around, rotate, whatever. They're on the ball joint, so pretty much, let me go ahead and put this back to normal. Before I start reattaching them. So that's why I was like wondering that swivel. The swivel was basically from his waist. So overall, in terms of posability, posability and everything, he's quite posable, and he has a very, very good footprint. So like he can actually do a lot of things really well because he has like the big feet, like the big feet, and the separation on the back of his foot being like two parts. This helps him have a good, footprint. And otherwise, he really feels solid. Like, he's hefty, but he's solid enough hefty that it's like, it's not a big deal. Now, let's get into accessories. Also, his backpack for the thrusters. This bottom part, which acts like the back skirt, it moves up. It's on a double hinge. You got a hinge at the top part, and you got a hinge at the bottom. These parts here, they rotate. They're on double ball joint. You got a ball joint here and a ball joint up here. So you can rotate around. It is a ball joint, but you really don't feel much of the ball joint on the ones going to the middle. But it's a ball joint here, so they can rotate down, and then you got another ball joint here, so they can rotate and move outwards. Medium sabers are not ball jointed; they are pegged. It's a double peg, so there's a peg going inside, and then there's a peg for the handle. The thrusters are ball jointed, and This is the hard part. But as you can see, you have the quote-unquote NCOMs, and they come with wires. So you get 2 wires, which you unpeg this, and inside there, let me get my light back out. So inside there, where the NCOM was, if I can get the camera, line up with the camera and everything, there's a little part there with a hole. The hole is small enough for the wire. And just like with the Excess Gundam, you can plug in a wire. I can't remember if the Excess Gundam had 2 of them or 3 wires. I think he had the 2, and it was both for the knees. But he could have had 3, I don't remember. And then you get these little parts, these little circular discs that you plug in onto the wire at certain areas. And like bend it. And then at the end, and there's also within inside there, it's kind of hard to see. It's going to be, yeah, you can see right there, there's a hole inside there that you would use to peg it in the other end of the NCOM. So you can have it look like it was actually deployed out shooting. So it looked like that. And you get 2 wires, and you have 4 of these little circular discs, so you can use those if need be. I wanted to go ahead and do that and get those out the way because it's not really a thing, but it is a thing. And like such, it's just a simple peg that we just plug in on his back, like so, which this actually helps him look, you know, much bigger and more fuller because, I don't know, it just adds a bigger silhouette to him. Like, it just makes his silhouette bigger, mainly because you got the beam sabers there. The only thing I don't like is trying to get these NCOMs out, because it's kind of like they slide in. It's supposed to be like a track, like a slide in and out track that bends outwards. Now, I'm going over the extra accessories. We will do these in order, and I'm going to end up switching out these hands because I'm not using these close fists. First up is his shield booster, which I was almost flipping out building this thing. Because I was like, it's going to look hollow. Kind of is hollow. For how big it looks, it is kind of hollow. It is a shield booster. And this back part is supposed to be the booster part. And you got 2 stickers. One up there. And one down here. And everything you see on it is just plastic outside those 2 stickers. And you can store this in 2 spots. On his arm or on his back. If you're going to store this on his back, this connector here, we're going to take it and we're going to do a 180 with it. So now it's the other direction. And now we turn it upside down. And on the back, he has a slot. And this is like one of those you put in and you slide down. Sorry if you hear pings going off. That is Discord pings for stuff like Marvel Rivals and other such, or friends. So you ping it in. Ping. So you push and slide in, and then it locks in place. Just like so. So now he has a shield booster for extra thrust. Now for his other thing, and also two, I want to say these are PG style beam sabers, because the only time I see these are usually on a PG, like the PGs, like the Strike Freedom, New Gundam, RX-78-2. But on Master Grades, I've seen these on like the Double Zeta Gundams and the Rizels. I don't think any other Master Grade I have had these outside of Double Zeta and Rizel. But he has two, and he has these big beam saber handles. So plug in like so. And just like double, like you have a peg in, you have a hole in the beam saber. There's like, I think it's on like a hole on either side, really. And you just peg the hand in there. Yep, just peg the hand in there, and he holds it really well. I'm going to turn his hand upward because I don't know that white part, that wrist guard, will come off or not. But yeah, he has a massive beam saber, and he's ready to swing. And I do like how the Master Grade, at least with this one, I don't remember if the Rizels did this or not. I think they might have, but because I know they had the same kind of beam sabers. They had the normal size, but they also had the bigger size ones. But I don't remember if he actually had the hands for these. But I do like the fact that like Double Zeta, especially Double Zeta, actually has those extra hands for this. So yeah, he can actually hold it really well. Surprisingly, in the wrist, the polycap and everything in the wrist is holding up. Truth be told, I only had this thing built for about maybe 4 or 5 days now. So first time doing this. So yeah, he is actually holding up really well with doing this. Actually, I'm gonna just, yeah, the hand is actually holding up really well. No issues whatsoever. Even his footprint and everything is holding up really well. Forget he does have a toe bend too. But yeah, he actually holds this really well. No issues. He makes it look so easy too. So there's that. Now, there is another gimmick we can do with the beam sabers. I didn't know this was a thing. Gundam Battle Operation 2 never even made this a thing either, nor showed it off. But this manual does show it too. So, to those who knows or don't know, well, morally for those who don't know, certain this was a thing with Zeta Gundam and Double Zeta, was they had this thing where they wanted to make some of their weapons multi-purpose or have a dual function. For instance, the Zeta Gundam, it could take its beam rifle, and instead of it being used like a normal beam rifle, it can use it like a kind of like an extended ranged beam saber. The Master Grade 2.0, and I believe the Verka Master Grade does this. You can take the beam saber, plug it in to the beam rifle, and it works. I don't remember with the Verka, but I do know the 2.0. This also works with the Armor Ray Zeta Gundam. Both of those can do that. It's their gimmick. It's part of their gimmick there. And then like the beam sabers, they could be used like short burst, short range beam rifles. This is sort of a thing they did a few times here and there. Double Zeta. The beam sabers can also function like beam cannons. Um, that was a thing with the double Zeta. Like, um, so like the beam sabers, like yeah, the beam is going to come out from one end, but you have another open end where it can be shooting beam cannons. So with um, this is easier to do by taking off the backpack. And actually, I'm going to take that shield booster off because we're going to probably put it on his arm anyways. So you take these, move these down. So you'll move these down, and then you turn. You didn't see that, sadly. So move these from the up top to the down position, and then rotate until the thrusters are backwards, and the beam sabers are forward. You can do this with an attached, but I don't like doing it. And now he has beam cannons he can shoot from, you know, right underneath. Apparently this is a thing he can do. I did not know that. I never seen this be a thing he used. Not in any version. Because honestly, it's always been, he has his beam rifle, beam sabers, and NCOMs. That's it. Never beam cannons. Battle Operation 2 never did this. I don't even think an SD Gundam game ever did it either. Give me a second. I'll put these back in place. Yeah, but apparently this is a thing. But yeah, they never, you're like, hey, by the way, yeah, Gundam Mark V can do this. Also, be careful how you angle this because you don't want these things. So because of the connector here, you kind of want to turn these slightly back and have these slightly angled upwards. So it gives you clearance to plug it into the back. And don't worry, it's not like it's going to lock in place or anything. It doesn't like, hinder anything, but it's just there. Mainly because you don't want the thrusters or the income sections to be bouncing into these parts. And the final thing we got to show off, actually not the final thing because we got one more afterwards. We got this beam rifle, and this thing has a lot of stickers. There's one there, there's one up top, and there's one on each side. 4 stickers. And there is a peg hole in the front of the handle so you can peg it into his hand. Funny enough, with this handle, if I can get this to come out, the handle comes right out, so if you wanted to plug this in easier, you can. Not that it matters because it's not hard to plug this into his hand anyways. Now, the sad part is there is no way to store this on him. He's always forever holding this beam rifle. I mean, this is sad, but it's a sad truth. He's always going to hold this beam rifle in hand, never stored. But if he happens to lose it, well, he has a free hand to go grab that beam saber and start meleeing. Which I'm pretty sure he probably did. But now I'm wondering, did I get this thing wrong? No. I had it right. No, I think I had it wrong. Trying to get this thing into his arm. Kind of finicky. But yeah, there's a shield booster. Which I think I got it backwards. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, the booster part, when it's on his shoulder, the booster part, the thicker end should be up top. Well, the smaller end is on the bottom. Which, if you don't believe me, is right there on the manual. Now, we're not done with him. Oh, no, no, no. See, you would think we was done. Oh, no. Sorry, there's one more thing we have to show off with him. One more accessory. And when I was building this accessory, I thought, I wonder if I can, you know, switch up some of the stuff, make it look different. Or, you know, better. And I could, but, you know, manual says it's supposed to be done this way, because that's how they are. Now, for this one, we're going to have to go to his shoulders. So, to those who don't know, during this conflict, they call it the Penzolins incident. And during this time, the Gundam Mark V dealt heavy damage to the Gundam Sentinel, destroying its beam smart gun, destroying its incoms, basically leaving it with just Vulcan guns, and I think it's beam guns on his hips and beam sabers. Now, in return, the Gundam Mark V lost its incoms, and I believe it lost its incoms. They was badly damaged, and at the time they couldn't repair and replace them, so they opted to give it something else. They gave it missile launchers. Yes, we have missile launchers, and there's other red parts hanging in there. And these goes in the shoulders. So, like, in the shoulders, there's this little part you slide out. Oh, I didn't see that. Slide that out, and there is a peg right there, which you then plug in one of these. Ooh, that gets in there tight. So you plug that in, and now he has missiles. And like, you can't put one from this and one on the other side because it has that gray on the inside. So if you wanted to hide the gray, you can. And these things can move and open up. So yeah, when he couldn't have the incoms, he had missiles. Could there have been a version where he had both the missiles and the incoms? I mean, yeah, he could. And believe it or not, the box art kind of shows him with everything functionally working. So yeah, he can have the missiles, he can have the incoms deployed, he can have everything. And I will show this. He was like, he's full arm wielding, like, incoms out, beam saber in hand, missiles ready. Like, this is basically his box art cover. He has his beam rifle in hand, beam saber in the other, missile pods racked, and right there at the bottom there's an incom. So yeah, this is the Gundam Mark V. It's a heck of a master grade, fully loaded. He's tall. He's a beastly thing. He has the weirdest Gundam head ever. And honestly, he's I know some say he's not is not supposed to be considered a Gundam. It was just given the Gundam name, but hey, not all Gundams are in their traditional Gundam colors of red, white, blue, and a little bit of yellow. I mean, as many Gundams I have plenty of them. Look at the Providence. He's not red, white, and blue and yellow. I mean, he is red. He's not white. He has gray, but he has the blue and red on him. The Justice Gundam is not red, white, and blue. Kyrios is not red, white, and blue. He's orange and yellow and white. Dynamis is green and white. Epion is pretty much burgundy and yellow. So yeah, he's a Gundam. And yeah, he's a Gundam. He's a menacing terror, and he met his end in Gundam Sentinel, I believe. But yeah, this thing is crazy good. If you can get it, it's worth getting. You're going to probably pay about a little bit over $100. I think I get mine off of Premium Bandai. I paid $111 for this, and then add the $10 shipping, so it's like $121. But honestly, it was worth it. I like it. Um, it looks amazing. I really didn't need something from the Gundam Sentinel line. Well, technically, I kind of did, because I need to fill out every line with more than one, considering I like to have more than one for each lineup, which means I would still need to get another one from the 8th MS team and War in the Pocket. Well, no, actually, War in the Pocket, I don't need another because I got the GM Sniper 2. And technically, I didn't need this because I got the Zeta Plus A1, so that counts for Gundam Sentinel. But I think the only one I probably need to get another one for would be maybe a GM from the Stardust Memory or the GPO1, and maybe get the Ground Gundam itself or the GM Sniper 1. But yeah, this is a masquerade that was worth to get. It's only like 5 years old now. It has polycaps. And that polycap sheet, you will use practically every polycap except for 3. One of the ones you don't use is normally the ones they use for the front skirts, which is like for those polycap ball joint ones. And there's like 2 others, but I don't know what they're used for. But otherwise, this thing is solid. It's amazing. The only probably downfall you might have is shoulders popping off. But other than that, he's solid. He holds up really well. He has shelf presence, and he just looks menacingly tall. You just gotta let his head grow on you a little bit, but other than that, he's great. So I'm not gonna have another one to do for a good while, next couple of months. Maybe something might happen towards the end of the year. We'll see. I couldn't find it or get one within a reasonable time of the Stray Mirage frame, so that's sad. But for now, this will be it. Hope you guys enjoy this, and I'll see you guys later. So till then, take care.